for a bad batch of water. The system then was, paused, distributing more water into the system in an effort to have a better chemistry or a better jar test of what they were producing. And so that meant that the residents were draining what was left at that point in the clear wells. This is happening, at a time where we have support with the state there, at the water treatment facility. We welcome their support with open arms because we believe that our residents are worthy.
There is a new monthly eligible benefit raise. Lawmakers have agreed to provide a boost to beneficiaries. This might be worth up to $200 of financial aid. But some Americans in several states may not be eligible to receive this stimulus check. Gas prices are down, inflation is dropping very high, and the cost of food is going up. The price of food in America, everybody, rose more in the past year than has at any time since 1979. Inflation has driven up supermarket bills so much that in some cases, it's more economical to dine in a restaurant than it is to shop and cook. Grocery store prices have increased more steeply because they're more directly impacted by rising food costs and supply chain issues. While the restaurants, the cost of ingredients is only a small part of the bill. Spending on food stamps has increased by $53 billion and 90% increase in the two crisis years. By comparison, that's how much the entire program cost in 2009 during the recession. Spending on the SNAP program grew from 88% for an estimated $60 billion in 2019 to $113 billion in 2021. Spending on the SNAP program had previously peaked at $80 billion in 2013 before declining for the next 6 years. And the average monthly benefit per person increased 68% from $130 per person to $217 per person. That's from 2019 to 2021. The federal program helps supplemental the food budget of people who qualify. Emergency orders are helping some states collect more federal help. In the state of Virginia, another round of crisis benefits will be released today. Officials have said that a one-time payment for summer of $391 per eligible student will be uploaded retroactively. The Delaware Division of Social Services will also issue emergency benefits for August to eligible households as part of the state's ongoing response to the crisis. In the state of Virginia, another round of crisis stimulus checks, everybody, are going to help many people. The Delaware Division of Social Services will also issue emergency benefits for August to eligible households as part of the state's ongoing response to the crisis. And all households with open SNAP cases will receive at least $95 in emergency food benefits. Now, recently, the U.S. Energy Secretary faced criticism after she said Americans being crushed by the weight of inflation can lower their energy costs by installing solar panels at a 30% discount under the Inflation Reduction Act. During an interview this week, Jennifer Granholm said the Democrats' new climate and health care bill is going to provide thousands of dollars in tax rebates for lower and middle class families.
Of a full effort to correct this challenge.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't mean to interrupt, but our time's limited. Every Mississippian knows, and I'm one of them, there have been problems with the water in Jackson for decades. The Mississippi Free Press reports staffing issues there have been chronic and severe. The EPA says there's no evidence the city made efforts to recruit and train workers. Why not?
Well, I don't believe that is fully true. In fact, we've even gone as far as taking the EPA's advice itself. Efforts to, work with the Rural Water Association, efforts to bring in the mutual aid agreement, to bring the support of other cities that exchange those water professionals. We have 10 people that are training to be Class A water operators, which our system requires as we speak. It is not as simple of an equation to bring people in, because if you have a college degree, it takes 2 years to become a Class A operator. If you are without a college degree, it takes 6 years to be a Class A operator. So we've even looked at measures of how we attract retired employees to come back under the hourly rate that does not threaten their retirement. We've tried to contract, and in fact, we do have some contract employees that don't clock in, and so it doesn't register the full number of water professionals that we have there. We're trying to look at a third-party operations firm, right? And, there are some complications in terms of the negotiation right now that I do not want to get into.
I get you. It's just all such an awful look, Mr. Mayor. Our state is last in so many categories, the bad ones, and now we can't even get water to the people in our capital. Mayor Lumumba, you're a Democrat in a vast majority black and Democratic city, state government Republican with a long history of sending federal money for infrastructure to other areas. Here's the question. How would you describe your relationship with Governor Tate Reeves, and how much of the larger problem is on his administration?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that it would be fair to put, the challenge on any one.
Senator Rono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hydrogen is a new fuel for most of the public, so I know that there are various jurisdictional issues that come up and questions as to how can Congress make sure that we have appropriate safety standards in place as we go forward. So I thank the chairman for having this hearing. I have a couple of questions that were suggested by people in Hawaii because we do have a desire to go forward with some level of hydrogen use. For Mr. Marsh, you describe your company's efforts to produce zero emission hydrogen using renewable power. What strategies do you think Congress should follow to support or accelerate the transition to hydrogen, and where would you want to see clear federal rules in place to allow companies, state, and communities to decide if or how they want to proceed on hydrogen as a clean energy source?
Well, thank you, Senator. We're building out a clean green hydrogen network across the United States using hydropower, using wind power, using solar power to create green hydrogen. When I think about where the federal government can help, it really, I'm a businessman, and the production tax credit for both green and blue hydrogen would be incredibly beneficial to accelerate this economy, to create jobs, to provide independence. That, to me, will make the biggest difference, and we'll be able to leverage what's best about, quite honestly, our economy, to be able to let companies like Plug raise money on Wall Street based on, the certainty of the laws for the long term. Just to give you a feel, during COVID, we were able to raise $5 billion. And that Congress can, with tax legislation, can do so much to accelerate this more than everything else. There are experts on this panel that understand permitting and policy much better than I do when it comes to regulations. I can just tell you that what we have found that on most commercial properties, building hydrogen stations, and we've built it 185 times, really has not been that big of an issue. I can build a hydrogen station in 13 weeks. This is a commercial business to business today. The regulations associated with pipelines, three felt people on this panel with me are much better suited to answer those questions.
Thank you. I agree with you. I am a supporter of tax credits to really move us forward and to support various policy